Hey, Mom.
Hello and welcome to the Gamer's Tale. I'm Trent Gander. I'm joined by Kieran of Cool Cuds Play, who used to host us on his channel every week. I'm joined again by Lee the Tech Priest, and tonight we'll be discussing what we expect from 2017 in regards to games. Is it the year of nostalgia, where everything goes back to the way it was, at least in gaming? And what else is there that we haven't discussed yet? There was Rainbow Six Siege. There's could be new things for Battlefield. I don't know. But we're going to have a good time, and I hope you guys do too. So, for some reason, there seems to be a trend that pretty much every single game is going to require internet access. This has recently been released For Honor that even their single player campaign is going to require internet access. And I'm going to turn it over to the Tech Priest to explain why he at least thinks that's the trend. I have no idea why.
Honestly, I think a big part of it is counter piracy. Um, the fact is, if I've got the game going, oh hey, I need to reach out to this server, it becomes very easy to say, oh hey, I need to reach out to this server with this specific hash to linked to my individual CD, and basically it helps cut down on piracy. Is it going to prevent it? Fuck no. But, it helps people get ahead, and really, especially on the PC side, companies do lose a lot of money to internet piracy.
Yeah, all those questionable sites that sell really, really cheap CD keys. Is that what you're talking about similarly?
More ripped games.
Ah.
ISO files of games being one of the most common, ways to pirate, stuff like that, more than, the cheap CD keys. If I understand it correctly, most of the cheap CD keys come from, buying keys in countries where, due to currency conversion, it's super cheap. And then, oh, hey, I've got this key. I can sell it anywhere. If I buy it in Romania for $4 and I sell it in America for $8.
Overturn. Most of this stuff, to me, at least with on the hacking side, for lack of a better term, is along the lines of black magic, because I read the agreements and it's like, oh, don't modify our code, don't take this. It's like, I'm flattered that you think I can do that, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know how and I don't want to know how. It's just, no, too much work.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to acknowledge it, but it happens. It's one of those things that, I think that's a good chunk of it. The other part is really you do get a lot of good information if you're tracking, for example, how many people are online, what your demographic is, as far as, if everybody starts to get off at 9 p.m., Eastern, oh, hey, do we maybe have a, player base that is predominantly older, and 9 p.m. means, hey, I need to start going to bed to get ready for work. Is everybody playing at 2 a.m.? Is that our busiest server time frame? So stuff like that you can kind of track a little better, which obviously helps for maintenance, helps for updates, and all that fun stuff.
More for the analytics. That's understandable.
Yeah, analytics and planning.
Another interesting thing would be that I was thinking about is that it always being online would make it much easier to be able to hook up with friends. So let's say I'm playing single player For Honor and I want to join my squad. I know when they're online because I'm already online. I don't have to add 2 to 3 more steps to be able to get to where they are.
And I think a lot of that is, it becomes very easy for people to say, oh, hey, we want to always be online, because there's no downside for companies doing it. There is no, oh, hey, we kind of sort of want, we want you always on. There's no downside to them doing that. There's downside for the players, but not for the not for the companies.
True, and if they're always on, there's more likely to be able to report bugs so that they can provide a better service more quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
This easily flows into the next topic, which is there seems to be a trend toward games having more, not just open world, but open world where there are a lot of players in it. And I think 2017 is going to see two types of gaming, which are the Battlefield massive maps, massive amount of players, killing everything, and smaller maps with a very controlled number of players, such as Rainbow Six Siege, for example, and For Honor, a very limited amount of online human players and characters available in it. I personally play a lot of games where the max is 4 against a bunch of non-player characters, and there's good sides, there's downsides. But what do you feel we're going to expect, or we're going to get in 2017? Will there be no middle ground? Will there be some middle ground? Will we continue on as we have the last 3 years?
I think really, as we look at kind of what people have been, the battle arcade setup that has caught on heavily and that a lot of people are really liking is kind of, one of those things that I don't see that going away. The, 5v5, 10v10 makes everybody feel a little more special, like we've talked about in previous shows. However, I think we're just now, for the first time, starting to get into the tech level where people can play, the Battlefield Arma, that crowd can really do everything that they wanted to do 5 years ago. We can start actually seeing 128 player games. We can start to see, these giant, ridiculously so maps where, oh, hey, I've got the hardware to run 128 people. And the other thing is the network upgrades that are going on here in the U.S. As much as I hate to be critical, we're just now starting to see fiber rolled out as a large, offering for Americans.
I always heard that the Europeans had much better internet than we did.
I don't know about the Europeans, but the Korea and Japan. I've got friends who live in Japan who are pulling a gig to their door.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, right. Like that's the kind of thing I want in my life. So I think as we start to see more and more fiber, the latency issues will be brought down considerably.
Yeah. That's going to be an awesome time to be gaming, at least. I'm interested in For Honor's online gameplay because it was more duel-oriented. That historical styles of fighting that they've put in. But not much. What I'm looking forward to for it is it's a return to games like Soul Calibur 3, the Soul Calibur series, Street Fighter. It's all kind of, they took what's really historical fighting styles, they put it in a historical game style, which is head-to-head, and they put it in a moderately open world. So for me, that's like, I grew up on those games. I grew up on Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, two dudes with swords trying to hack the bits out of each other, and now I'm gonna get that only with better, arguably better graphics, more customability, and little NPC guys to throw in front of my enemies. That's what I'm looking forward to in 2017 because personally, from seeing bits and pieces of the alpha, For Honor was, like, for lack of a better term, the game I was born for. That's the game I want to see do really well in 2017. And since Ubisoft has announced that all the downloadable content for the future will be absolutely free, in addition to network support for it as long as the game is alive, make me very hopeful for that as a franchise to grow. So maybe 2018, 2019, we see Dishonored 2, or not Dishonored 2. We already have Dishonored 2. For Honor 2. I don't know. That would be cool. At least.
And seeing um seeing Ubisoft come out and say, hey, we're going to support this for the lifespan is absolutely awesome. Simply because that hasn't always been a thing. We look at a lot of games, quickly within a year and a half died. And I don't mean hee hee ha ha, I know they were dead within a year and a half.
Well, yeah, I can think of, at least for Halo 5, that was like, you saw ads for it, and then nothing. Nothing after that. It sounds like it was either an absolute flop or not many people liked it or wanted what they got.
So yeah, that's one of those things of the more that we as gamers see, people taken care of, people oh hey, we're gonna run this game until nobody else wants to play it, I think is really good for the community as a whole and sets a hell of a precedent there to kind of maintain and keep everybody happy.
Oh yeah, it's very similar. A friend of mine really liked, what was it called? Battlefield 2142.
Uh-huh.
And the Revive server, whatever it's called, has revived it recently. But the only problem is, like, it's all donations and other things, and it's not really supported, so it's kind of shady in that respect. And I tried to play it. I tried to get on. It didn't work for me. I couldn't even get it to run. And since it explicitly states that none of the stuff we do here is actually required, we're not paid, all this is at our whim.
Yeah.
To pretty much resurrect this dead game, whether we can do so legally or not, is take that into consideration. We really can't help you if it goes down unless we feel like it. That, for me, really doesn't fill me with confidence compared to, we're going to take care of this game. As long as people are playing this game, we're going to maintain it. And I can understand that part of full-on customer service that's going to create the next generation and the next generation after that loyalty for that company, for that game series.
And the other thing is, I think you really start to get, oh hey, we're gonna run this for a couple of years, drastically changes the willingness of people to pay $15, $20, $30, $40 in DLC. Oh hey, I want, $80 for a season pass of my DLC.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm gonna support the game for 2 years. Okay, that's a different because Rainbow Six, over the course of their 2 years now, will have charged an additional $60 for the season pass, for 30 for year one, 30 for year two, for additional content. However, I'm kind of good with that because that means they're supporting the game for 2 years, and they haven't started working on the next Rainbow Six yet, and going, oh hey, this one's old, so have a nice day.
Yeah, it's what people seems to be lacking a lot for just in general is customer service in most of the industries that we find today. When people find to be treated well because I'm spending my hard-earned money on stuff, people are more likely to continue on buying. Brand loyalty is what I'm talking about, really.
Yeah.
The thing
Um,
about it is, except for we all know the game companies. We know Xbox with Microsoft. We know PlayStation with Sony. We know Nintendo with Nintendo. But we don't really see a lot of care going into the people who are buying these products. You see, it seems like we're treated more like money cows than customers. And I like that Ubisoft is going back to, hey, we actually kind of give a crap about you people who are buying our stuff and keeping our lights on. We're going to take care of you. I like that. And since we talked about Rainbow Six and how they have been continuing putting the more content in and charging for it, yes, what do you feel the future of Rainbow Six is going to be, and what's new in that arena?
So with the season 2 that they announced, that they, I'm really expecting this to kind of be the new norm, especially for competitive play. You look at a good chunk of the competitive realm, they're around for years. So I really do think hey, we're going to support this game for 3, 4, maybe 5 years, at least within the competitive sphere, is going to make for a much better experience. At the same time, I think Call of Duty's sales have finally eaten shit enough that they're going to slow down and actually maybe, assess that not everybody's going to buy their game every year. Sorry, but I don't want to drop $60 on a AAA title when the game may suck.
Yeah, I do kind of have some hopes for it because late 2016, there was a rumor going around that the next Call of Duty is going to be set in the Vietnam era. But it's still a rumor. It's like it's not. Is it true? Maybe not. Do I want it to be true? Yeah. If they do it, Battlefield, for lack of a better term, was revolutionary when they went way back in time to World War I for console.
Yeah.
And from watching people play it online and just general videos, it seems like they relied more on, for lack of a better term, old-fashioned soldiering, which is we're listening for footsteps, or we don't have the mini drones. We don't have all this really awesome stuff that we have in the modern era.
Yeah.
But we have what at least I grew up with for first-person shooters, which was near nothing technology, iron sights, a crap load of Germans.
I think to an extent that works better for certain games. I absolutely understand that not everybody wants to play the super grueling, I'm gonna make you hate yourself
Yeah.
games, but the
No one wants to play the classic game Commando, where you get grazed by a bullet and die, and you have to start over at the beginning of the level.
exactly,
I can.
and while we're seeing harder and harder games become a thing more and more, at the end of the day, not everybody's about that life.
True. I mean, I really want to get Battlefield 1, and I really want to play it because it looks really fun, and it's a part of history that I really don't know much about. I know it's not very realistic, but it has new to me stuff. It's like, oh, that's cool. I don't remember that part. I don't know about that either. But it's taking, as I remember reading an article a while ago in a video game magazine, and it said how history would go if it actually went according to like video game logic or something. Most of the battles were fought in Normandy in World War II by lone soldiers operating behind enemy lines. It's like we get a said somewhat immersive storyline from a part of history that they rewrite with license, with some license
That's a
to
nice way to put it.
to entertain someone, and they get a chance to maybe get something of a taste of the history, so it makes them go out and say, "Hey, let's look at this a bit more." But they make it enjoyable, and it's not the far distant future or like Star Wars or something where you have a set, what was a set universe, so you know the politics and all that other stuff
Yeah.
around it. And what is their most recent Call of Duty's plotline? All I know is that it involves lots of sliding, weird maps, and mechs.
I don't actually think they have a plot line. I think it's just, oh, hey, guys, we're going to make people buy for the newest iteration of our multiplayer, and they're going to like it.
Okay, that's a bad business plan. Even I can see that.
Surprisingly enough, it worked well for like 10 years. Not that I'm bitter that I bought into it or anything, but
Hey, I will say that of the few Call of Duties that I have played, Modern Warfare 2 is still up in the top things of, yeah, I want to play that again.
honestly, Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 are some of my favorite games. Um,
Well,
like I,
this goes to
they're
the nostalgia part of the titles. Like, will Call of Duty wake up and go back to the kind of gameology describes it as gritty gameplay that we had early 2000s with Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, the actual early first person shooters for Medal of Honor and Call of Duty? Will we get that in 2017? I hope so, because
I
I'd
and
play that.
I think a lot has changed since then. I think we're still really going to see the competitive gaming impact. Um, I we're still going to continue to see, the esports rub off, for lack of a better way to put it. And that is what it is. That's not a knock on esports. That is just recognizing that they have severely impacted our gaming, especially for competitive online.
Don't they mostly play like Counter Strike or something?
I Counter Strike, Call of Duty, Halo, you name it. There's a competitive uh, arena for it.
I really miss Halo 3. I actually had a LAN party with my brother, my cousin, and a couple of friends. We had a 5-man team, or 5-man team, 5-man match for Halo 3. Oh, wow. It's probably like 6 years ago. I feel old now. Why? But yeah, uh, when we had, I actually didn't have high speed internet access at that time. Oh my goodness. How time flies.
yeah, right.
You're like, oh my goodness, you just described hell to me.
No, trust me. The internet battle for me, it was playing StarCraft on dial-up.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
playing.
40K kind of knockoff thing. Yeah, StarCraft. You know what? At a rummage sale, I for some reason bought just like the empty shell of a StarCraft 2, I think it was. Just like the book that comes with the actual CD and like the box. I just like bought that. There wasn't actually any CD in it. I'm just like flipping through like this is a great storyline.
And honestly, StarCraft is one of those series that I absolutely love. But oh no, if you are not prepared for the online play, go home, prepare yourself. Think long about what you want to be when you grow up, because it is no joke. Um,
Yeah, my brother he does a lot of like smaller turn-based video games a
okay.
lot, and he does. They have competitive things, and it's like he sometimes gets really pissed off about going up against other players and attacking for like a very term their bases because he finds that mainly in dungeon boss and yeah dungeon boss and he says a lot of the people on here are a lot better than me. They have like better squads, better everything. I'm getting to a point where I can't win it, and it's just like ripping his squads apart when he sends them in. It's like yeah, that's kind of a thing with online gameplay.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, I'm just a casual gamer. I go on to games like Fistful of Frags. I get my ass handed to me. Like I hover at like the 10th spot if I started a match, and then maybe I get to 6. It's like okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm just here to have a good time. But I still hate that guy who kicked my ass in. No,
see, and
quite literally, the animation looked like because you can kick in Fistful of Frags. My
yeah,
character bent over, and the boot went through my butt.
well, okay,
Uh, Oversharing, but come on, we all have some sort of
oh yeah, no, mm, I wish I didn't believe it. Shit happens.
yeah. One of the annoying things. Oh, never mind. We can merge into Red Dead Redemption because that's coming out in the fall of 2017. That's really nostalgic. It has been how many years since they've had Red Dead Redemption? It's been like
Um,
5 or 6, more than that.
yeah, I don't actually remember off the top of my head.
I think that was on PlayStation 3. All right, hang on.
I'm looking right now.
Before that, they had Red Dead Revolver. Then it was Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah,
It was released in 2010. There we
awesome.
go. 6 years. It's been
Yes.
6 years since the original Red Dead Redemption, which, for what I've researched when I really wanted to buy it and couldn't, was that the closest equivalent we have is describe it as Skyrim in the Wild West.
I see, and I go Grand Theft Auto in the Wild West because it definitely feels like a Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, stealing people's horses, the hangable fence.
so I was out playing around in the desert today, and I take a picture, send it to a bunch of friends, and I get the question, why are all these cows out here? And it's like, oh, we have
Cattle?
well, yeah, it's free range cattle. I'm
Yeah.
on public property, and the friend goes, oh, be careful not to hit them. And I had to like pause for a moment and go, no, that's a felony, and I'm too pretty to go to prison. We still, death penalty for hanging didn't leave the law books. They just don't do it anymore.
Yeah. So you get to, the punishment of crimes in video games is just as bad as harsh it is in real life nowadays. So be careful. Well, what I would really, really love to look forward to is Bowie Knife fights in Red Dead Redemption 2. I That's one of my favorite things. That was one of the coolest things I thought for um, Red Dead Redemption was that it's like you can literally just like pull out a knife and like have that as your primary and go around. And I'm getting that in Fistful of Frags. No matter how many times I get shanked in the liver, it's so much fun. Oh, but yeah, one of the things is like I always keep the throwing knives on me because throwing knife versus fist, what do you think wins a lot of the time?
The Yeah, I'm actually really excited for the new Red Dead Redemption, just because it's been what 3 years since we've had a Grand Theft Auto release, and I'm excited to see what Rockstar has come up with. Their lessons learned from the last couple games, and the fact that they're still supporting and updating Grand Theft Auto's multiplayer. Um,
Yeah,
I think they're going to do a really good job with Red Dead Redemption, just off of that alone. A lot of lessons learned over the last couple years.
yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be very very good, because I haven't played any Grand Theft Auto and I really like the cowboy theme, as it isn't obvious. But I will say this: if I can afford it and actually do get it, I'm going to be listening to the album "Gunfighter Ballads" by Marty Robbins the entire time, because that just like fits right in there. It's like, okay, I got a 6 gun. This is the West. I have lever action. I have woefully outdated technology, and I have a horse. Where are the bandits? Yeah. I mean, I can understand at least why I would like to play Red Dead Redemption, because of my dad. I grew up on John Wayne movies.
Yeah,
And
so did I, and it just rubs me the right way.
it's like recently, I think it was last week or the week before, I saw Big Jake, which I hadn't seen in years. And it was one of my favorite John Wayne movies, because for some reason I found the scene where John Wayne blows away his would-be murderer away in the shower to be one of the most iconic scenes of my childhood. And I thought, you know what, that's hilarious. It's like, oh yeah, I have you at a disadvantage. Do you now? Yeah.
I don't know what it is about John Wayne movies that I just really like. He just does a really good job.
I think the internet today would call him the original Savage, perhaps, because some of the when he's, for lack of a better term, roasting his sons in Big Jig is just like, yep, he would probably love dealing with the trolls today, and we would have a lot of entertainment from it, because he ain't holding back in these old movies.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, the I know times change and stuff, and we have more explosions and better green screens, but yeah, that those movies are just fantastic. Oh man, that was really good for me to see Big Jake again, but I had one gripe about it. I have no idea why his Indian associate, Sam Sharpnose, decided to throw his large Bowie knife into his assailant's gut when the guy had to come in and machete him to death. It's like, okay, why not wait till he gets close enough so you have, more of a shot?
Don't question it.
I was actually talking to my brother as like, could you imagine if they like took every single plot that in the John Wayne movies and had similar things but modernized it into modern day like technology, but had like the same theme and kind of feel to it? That would be probably some of the most bloody and gritty movies you could get out today.
And to an extent, I think that kind of overdoes it. I know we're gonna uh, piss off Cheyenne discussing movies without her here. But
Oh yeah, I'm sure when we get her on again, we can cover it again because like the first three episodes, no, the first season of this entire show was pretty much me bringing up a subject, me getting one guy on, me getting another guy on, discussing the same subject because I have a different think base now, and it's always going to be like a rehashing of all the stuff because there's always going to be something new thought about, new
oh yeah,
whatever. But yeah, continue.
no, to an extent, I think them working around, censorship laws and all else, kind of, for
The off-screen terror is much better than the whole blood and guts that we get today.
well, it caused them to have to be better with what they do.
We actually have skill as actors.
Yeah. Let alone the humor part and all else.
Oh yeah. Then they also had a lot of the stuff that they had was pretty good with the. You actually got to see them on location. You could tell when they were in. What was it called?
Like mocked up towns.
Yeah, mocked up towns. You can tell when they're on set. Like the trees, you can tell are really plastic, and a bunch of other stuff. But it entertained us when we were younger.
Oh yeah. But then again, I'm easily entertained, so that's not exactly a.
Not too much of a prerequisite.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we've exhausted all of our topics. So I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll hopefully catch you next week. Cool music plays as the lights go down, and we'll see you next week.